It is time for another chapter in the never-ending sports debate out there. Who is a better pass rusher, Myles Garrett or TJ Watt? ESPN throughout the summer, throughout this last week really, has been rolling out top 10 players at each position group as voted on by coaches and execs, GMs, all that stuff. And today it was edge rusher. And let's talk about it because Browns fans and Steelers fans love to go at each other's throats as to who is the better pass rusher, Myles or TJ. So, coming in at number one, this is not from me, this is by coaches and GMs, execs, all that stuff. At number one, it is Myles Garrett. He was ranked number one for a second straight season. His highest ranking amongst all pollsters was number one, obviously. His lowest was number four. So let's just take a quick glimpse at what some of the coaches and execs had to say about Myles, and then we'll talk about Watt afterwards and his, situation in Pittsburgh right now. Let's put it that way. So here's what one NFL coordinator said. There's a short list of guys you have to shift your fronts to. And Garrett is the first person you think of when it comes to how much of your game plan he occupies. Every single second on the field, you know what he's doing or what he might do next. Steelers fans, and I would say understandably so when this debate that's kind of just annoying at this point keeps popping up, but Steelers fans love to point to the production when crowning Watt as the better pass rusher in the AFC North. And production is terrific and it's awesome and obviously it's very, very important. But I do think it is also, I wouldn't say like equally as important, but very important and harder to quantify in a single statistic when it comes to the role the player has in the opposition's game plan. What Garrett does every Sunday is put opposing coordinators in an absolute blender for trying to game plan for. And Watt doesn't do that at the same level. And as a result, it requires oppositions to not go to maybe some of their biggest strengths, right? Not lean on some of their favorite play calls because it's just an absolute non-starter if it involves going against Myles. And we've seen countless examples of this. The most notable one for me and my favorite one, and it's probably the one you're thinking of right now too. 2 years ago, when the Tennessee Titans and Ryan Tannehill came to town, and Myles started just hopping around the defensive line from one position to another, going from one side to the other, back and forth, and the Titans had to have a tight end follow him every single spot he went to. So Garrett would get ready on the left side, tight end's there, Garrett starts to, jog over to the right side, and the tight end goes in motion. And the Titans ultimately had to burn a timeout because the play clock was winding down and there was this never-ending game of cat and mouse going on. You don't get that same impact from TJ Watt. So one of the annoying things is whenever we do this Myles and Watt debate, the other side is insistent on trying to bring the other player down to this level of he's not even that good. They're both incredible future Hall of Fame players. And yes, I'm biased, but yes, I would take Myles Garrett over him because while you can look at some seasons of production favoring Watt, and kudos to him for that, he's earned all that. What I would like to know more is you pulled all 32 offensive coordinators. Who do you not want to face? Garrett or Watt? And I'm going to confidently tell you that not majority would say Garrett, but next to all would say Garrett. The only one that probably wouldn't is the Steelers offensive coordinator because he just doesn't want to give Myles the satisfaction. So, yeah, I think 31 coordinators would rather face TJ Watt than Myles Garrett. A couple other fun little bits and pieces from this ESPN article. Garrett's hold in the number one ranking is firm. He's earned at least 70% of the first place votes in back-to-back years. Nobody is quicker off the ball. Garrett reached an average get off at 0.70 seconds, tied for the quickest amongst edge rushers with at least 200 pass rushes. That resulted in 40 quick pressures under 2.5 seconds, which ranks second in the NFL. Here's one more quote, and then we'll talk about Watt. He has significantly refined his overall game over the years. A good tackle used to be able to give him problems, but that's less and less the case now. He's more consistent with his pass rush. So, you don't want to believe a Browns YouTuber when it comes to this debate of who's better, Watt or Garrett? Fine. Take 70% of the first place votes going to one person as close as you can really get to, I wouldn't say unanimous, but like kind of, right? Like, it's just not that common to see that many votes go to one player in a candidates class of every single pass rusher in the NFL. That's a big chunk of the pie going to one player. All right, as for TJ Watt, here's his information. His highest ranking was number 1, so very nice of one of his coaches to do that for him. His lowest was number 3, and last year he was number 2. Here's what one AFC defensive coach had to say about the Steelers pass rusher. He's still the gold standard for me. He completely wrecks a game, and he can do everything. I think that last word was very important. He can do everything. Him and Myles do not play the same position. They play very similar positions, but there are some differences. TJ Watt plays an outside linebacker role. He always lines up over the right tackle, whereas Garrett hops around a little bit. We've seen Garrett play nose tackle for crying out loud. But when you compare their resumes, one thing that's very different between Watt and Garrett is the takeaways, right? TJ Watt has interceptions. He's got a bunch of forced fumbles, which Myles does too, of course. But that's a product of playing a different position, dropping into coverage at times, right? Having those opportunities to get those interceptions. So he can do everything. Yes, he can. And he's in a position to do everything. So I'm not going to hold that against Garrett going, well, Watt gets more picks. Well, Watt doesn't play defensive end every single play. He plays outside linebacker, which has other responsibilities and duties with it. Here's what one more quote from an NFL coordinator had to say. I thought he wore down a little bit, but their whole defense did. I think they just got tired, and the struggles on offense could have played a role. I said this last year about the Steelers, and I think I was just 1 year too early on it. When a defense year after year has to kind of bail out the offense a little bit, it's going to become much more difficult for them to stay consistent. Offenses can stay consistent much easier than defenses can in the NFL. And I think this year, with yet another new starting quarterback, a new offense, new wide receiver, new running back, everything new up there, year after year, the Steelers defense is going to run out of gas this year for having to cover up the shit stains that the offense left behind. So I expect a Pittsburgh Steelers regression and decline this upcoming season. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We're going to sign off and see everyone next time.